Welcome back to another conference tournament prediction video, and today we got the Ohio Valley. And while this conference can be considered one of the weaker mid-major conferences, we are predicting all 31 conference tournaments, which means we got to do this one as well. So yeah, you heard that right. All 31. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss whenever we upload any more conference tournament videos, prediction videos. But let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket. And we got kind of a West Coast Conference similar type bracket here, where the higher seeds get an advantage. And it's not like the Sun Belt where there's 12 teams and they do this format. I think this is a little bit better. If you're gonna do this format, you gotta have a smaller conference. And this conference does have 11 teams in it, but only 8 are going to be playing in the conference tournament. But looking at the first matchup, Tennessee Tech versus UT Martin, and to my surprise, UT Martin is actually ranked much higher in KenPom than Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech is at 304 overall. UT Martin is about 10 spots ahead of them because their defense is actually better, and their offense isn't. These offenses I would say are similar, but UT Martin's defense is much better than Tennessee Tech, and they're actually surprisingly the more well-rounded team here. I'm actually going to take Tennessee Martin here to pull a little 5-8 upset and move on to face Little Rock. And looking at the 6 versus 7 game, Lindenwood versus Morehead State, you could definitely go back and forth on this one. Both these teams are directly next to each other. Morehead State is at 325. Lindenwood's at 326. But recently, Morehead State has been pretty much. I mean, they have been absolutely atrocious. I mean, they've lost like 8 of their last 9 games. I mean, they have been struggling recently. And they did actually break their little 8-game losing streak with a win over UT Martin. But again, UT Martin's the 8 seed, and it wasn't a crazy impressive win as well. Morehead State has been struggling recently, so for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and take Lindenwood. I think they can get past Morehead State here in the first round. Back up to the top, though, Little Rock taking on UT Martin. Can they continue their little Cinderella here as the 8 seed, the lowest seed, to qualify for this conference tournament? I ultimately don't think so, even though UT Martin is actually much higher than I thought they would be. The 5th highest team in KenPom. Definitely did not expect that. But Little Rock is one of the favorites in this conference. They have a top 100 defense in the country. They are a very good defensive team. They're 18-13 on the year. They actually have the 2nd highest odds, I believe, to win this conference. Actually, it might be 2nd or 3rd, I think. But they are one of the teams in this conference that you may want to look out for as the 4 seed. Their defense is very spectacular, so I'm going to take them to move on to the semis. Tennessee State versus Lindenwood. Looking at Tennessee State, nothing really stands out about them to me. They're ranked 257th in KenPom, about 250 in offense and 230 in defense. Comparing that to Lindenwood, it's definitely better than Lindenwood, but I think Lindenwood defensively. By the way, Lindenwood's defense is the highest out of any of these two teams' offensive or defensive rankings, so that's definitely interesting. I think if they can lock Tennessee State down, I believe they split in the regular season as well. I think Lindenwood can carry their momentum they got from the last round. I think they can pull a 3 versus 6 upset. You're seeing a lot of upsets here in this bracket, but I don't know, this bracket. I don't really love a lot of these teams here. I'm gonna take Lindenwood. Both these teams won at home. Tennessee State won the most recent matchup, but they were both by 10 and 8 points respectively. I think Lindenwood recently has been pretty solid. They've won 4 of their last 6, and one of those losses was to Southeast Missouri, which is the number 1 seed in this conference. So you can kind of give them a pass for that one. And I think Lindenwood has a great guard play, so I think they can get past Tennessee State and continue their little run to the semifinals. But back up to the top, the 1 seed Southeast Missouri. They are definitely the favorite in this conference, and for good reason. I mean, They did lose their last game of the regular season, but before that, they were on a absolutely ridiculous win streak. I mean, they were on a 10-game win streak. They were absolutely cruising. But against Little Rock, they actually split the regular season series. Both these teams won the road game. And when these two teams play, it tends to be a bit of a low-scoring game, and that is because both these teams lean heavily into their defense. Um, the weird thing about this is, um, Little Rock's defense is actually much better than Southeast Missouri. Now, Southeast Missouri is definitely the more well-rounded team. They definitely have the better offense, but defensively, Little Rock ranks 95th compared to Southeast Missouri's 155. I don't know. These two teams seem pretty evenly matched. I know Little Rock has been a little bit shaky as of recently, but I think they get a little bit of time off. They figure it out. Their offense has also been a lot more consistent recently, I feel like, than their start of conference play and the start of the season in general. I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm actually going to take Little Rock to pull the 4 versus 1 upset. This is probably the most upsets I've had. Um, I mean, and it's all in the same video. But I don't know. I just don't love a lot of these high seeds here in this conference. Nothing really stands out, and I think Little Rock stands out in my opinion more than Southeast Missouri because of that top 100 defense, and because of the fact that I think they get a little bit of momentum with their UT Martin win, and they carry that over into the Southeast Missouri game. They will not have played for like almost a week at this point. So they're a little bit of a hot streak. I think cools off a little bit. I think Little Rock gets them. And like I said, their offense has been a little bit better recently than it started out to be. So I'll take Little Rock. And then on the other side, the bottom half, SIU Edwardsville versus Lindenwood. Can the 6 seed Lindenwood continue their run? Unfortunately, I do think it stops here. I think SIU Edwardsville has a little bit too much. They tend to play the good teams in this conference. Besides Southeast Missouri State, who really has their number, they play the good teams in this conference very well, at least from what I've seen. And yes, these two teams did split in the regular season, but I think SIU Edwardsville just has a little bit too much here. Rayshawn Taylor, I believe that's how you say it. He's their guy. He's averaging 19 points a game. He's a guard. He's definitely somebody to look out for in this tournament. I just think this team is a very deep team. I think they definitely can get it done. But that sets up a championship game, Little Rock versus SIU Edwardsville. Do I go with the 4 seed? Do I go with the 2 seed? I wanted to go Little Rock just because how good that defense is. But I am going to take SIU Edwardsville. I just think that Southeast Missouri game, it's just going to beat both those teams up. And I honestly think maybe if Southeast Missouri wins that game, they can win just because they've dominated SIU Edwardsville in the 2 games they played. But I believe these two teams split in the regular season, so it's a pretty fair, even matchup. I don't know. I feel like that Southeast Missouri game is just gonna they're gonna give it all they got in that game, and then they're just gonna give out here in this championship game. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just think SIU Edwardsville, they only have to win 2 games to win this conference compared to Little Rock's 3. I just think they have a little bit too much. They're also a team that leans into their defense, so I think they can match Little Rock there, and their offense is much better. And you could argue the same thing with Southeast Missouri, but I think SIU Edwardsville with Rayshawn Taylor, who's averaging 19 points a game, I think he can carry them over the hump and punch their ticket to March Madness. Probably, a lower seed, 15, 16, but yeah, I don't know. That's just what you get in some of these smaller, lesser, mid-major conferences. And Ohio Valley, at least this year, is definitely one of those. But that is going to do it for the conference tournament prediction video. I don't know what number we're at now, but we got a whole lot out. I think it might be six videos out now. I may be wrong. Something around there. Make sure you go check all those out. Those will be popping up on the screen here. And then, make sure you stay tuned because we're doing conference tournament prediction videos every single day leading up to March Madness. We're doing all 31, so subscribe if you're new. We do college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, and MLB as well. So if any of that interests you, that would be greatly appreciated. We're trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. Hopefully we can hit that goal. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching.